All right. Now, a lot is happening in the forex market globally at this period. There has been a lot of instability lately. There's been a lot of instability. That is established. Though notwithstanding, we still have some movement. That's why we say that the way the market works, market condition is never the same all year round. There are periods of extreme volatility, and there are periods when the market will range. And there are periods when it's neither ranging or bullish or bearish. It's just in between. And to be honest, in the last like couple of weeks, we're in that phase where the market has just been doing more some sideways, slight trend, slight range like that. And it's likely due to the geopolitical tension that is ongoing at the moment between Israel and Iran. There's been threats here and there. Earlier on, some couple of years back, it was Israel and Hamas. Then they shifted to Israel and Iran. Then last week, Iran attacked US, escalating the tension. US responded back by hitting uh, nuclear sites in Iran, and all those things they have its effect fundamentally on the market. It can bring a lot of instability because everybody's on edge now because nobody really wants to go to war in the real sense of it because nobody wins in a war. Nobody, even whoever feels he wins, still have lost a lot. Every economy crumbles during a war, even for the winning team, they will still lose something. So all the nations concerned here, they are all trying to see how they can prevent a third world war from happening. Because from the look of things, if NATO goes ahead to support Russia, I mean to support Israel rather, and Russia decides to support Iran, and maybe China supports Iran, before you know what is happening, it may end up happening. But nobody really wishes that to happen because it's really going to affect the global economy. Though the forex market will move, but what is the sense of the movement when there's instability? You want to make money and have peace of mind spending it, not that you are making money and you're afraid you don't know because sanctions, other things, there won't be movement of goods and services. Everybody all over the world will feel it. It never gets to that level. But aside that, even with the ongoing situation, the market is being affected fundamentally. And we've always said that fundamentals drive the market. That's why, as a forex trader, you cannot stay away from news. You need to know news. Apart from forex factory, you need to know global happenings as it affects the market, especially the particular instrument you're trading that time. So that being said, we want to look at the chart to see the forecast for tomorrow. What will happen in the market tomorrow, Tuesday. Now, tomorrow, Tuesday, there are a lot of fundamental momentum on Forex Factory. I believe you are seeing that. By 9 a.m., the German IFO business climate, that's from the Eurozone, is a medium impact event. Much volatility is not really expected on that. But it will happen simultaneously with the Bank of England daily speech. Now, that speech will move the market. We don't know the direction yet. It's a speech, so there's nothing like actual or forecast on that. But one of the key events tomorrow is this one by 1:30 p.m., and that is CPI from Canada. It's a very, very key event. So by 1:30 p.m., there'll be CPI monthly, median CPI, trim CPI, and common CPI, all from Canada. CPI is usually can be used to measure inflation. Is a change in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers, and actual greater than forecast is expected to be good for the currency. So by 1:30 p.m. rather tomorrow, if the actual comes out greater than the forecast for all of the four events, that will lead to a bullish movement on the Canadian dollar, which is a massive bullish movement on Canadian dollar. And if on the other hand, the data comes out bad, for the Canadian dollar as an all red, we will experience also a massive bearish movement. And now, since all of them are CPI related, we don't have an event that is completely different from the CPI. We are not really anticipating a scenario where we have a conflicting data where one will be but just want to assume if it's good, let it all be good. If it's bad, let it all be bad. But that's just all I can say from what I'm seeing on the Forex factory at the moment. So that's all we can see from the Forex factory page at the moment. Then later on tomorrow, there are other events. The European Central Bank Governor, President Lagarde, will give a speech which will affect the Europeans. Bank of England Governor Bailey will also still give a second speech tomorrow. So we should expect some volatility on the pound tomorrow. Then later on, Fed Chair Powell will give a speech. All these speeches, as much as possible, I would advise you avoid them because they may not really have a clear direction. So our focus is just going to be on that Canadian dollar tomorrow. So I'll switch over now to the chart, and I'm seeing a very, very high probability setup on the CAD JPY ahead of this event. CAD JPY, all right. Fine, this is it. This is a CAD JPY, and this is already 9:19 p.m. We really don't expect much movement in the market again to end the day. Now, for this CAD JPY on the daily time frame, we can see that price has been trending downwards. Okay. If TJ is like you're connecting with another, okay, I think it was locked out. Oh, okay, maybe network. All right, Mr. TJ, it's like you were kicked out. Hello, are you there? Mr. TJ, can you hear me?
Hello, sir. Yeah,
You were kicked out.
I'm back now. I think it's my network.
It's on network. Okay, what was the last thing that you heard me say?
It's about the on the this thing. Like the market is going to be volatile because of the war
Okay.
ongoing
Oh, all right. And
ongoing war.
all right. So let me just do a little refresh so that you can catch up what we are talking about. I'll go back to the Forex factory.
Okay.
So I was saying that tomorrow, the key events we're going to be looking at tomorrow is going to be the CAD CPI, Consumer Price Index from Canada. That's a key event, and there's a technical setup that we can look towards to project ahead of what will happen in that event. So then generally from the fundamental angle, if the news comes out good for the Canadian dollar, we're expecting a massive bullish movement. And if it comes out bad, we're expecting a massive, but if it comes out good, massive bullish movement. If it comes out bad, massive bearish movement. So I'll flip now back to the chart so that we can see what I'm saying. So I'm looking now at the CAD JPY. Now, this CAD JPY on the daily time frame, you can see that price is trending downwards. It's descending on the trend line. It's making a series of lower high, and the third lower high, the trend line coincides. Let me remove this channel line first. Come back to that. You can see that. Let me zoom it out bigger so that you can still appreciate it better. Now you can see that the third time price, this is the second time price is touching the trend line, and this is the third time, it's today's candle, and it's closing today more like a rejection candle. This is 9:22 p.m. This structure will likely not change. The day is as good as almost completely over. So we really don't expect any change in this setup we're seeing. So now this one alone, a rejection candle trending downwards on the trend line, it's an indication of a bearish movement technically tomorrow. And to not even add more to the probability is the fact that there is a resistance between these 2 points right there. There's a resistance between this area and this handle at the high part of it. The body, the tip of the body on the two candles, they are on the same line, indicating a resistance. To make it a lot easier, we just put the rectangle block so that we don't have the lines extending to areas where we don't need it to extend to. So we can just put the rectangle block there. So here we have a very, very powerful high probability setup, price trending downwards below the trend line, and a rejection candle and a resistance. So technically, we are going to be peering. All right, so yeah, I had the network glitch. I'm back. I hope you can hear me. It's the network went off, but we're
Yeah,
back.
okay.
All
Yeah.
right. So as I was saying, so we have a high probability setup, and as such, technically we are bearish on the card JPY for tomorrow. So that means that for us, what we are looking out for is a situation
Okay.
where the data will come out bad for the Canadian dollar tomorrow. So if it comes out bad for the Canadian dollar, we can comfortably take a sell trade on the card APY. This is a high probability, setup. We can take it a step further if we want to draw trend lines. We still see uh, capture price movements. Still have, and we can take it down again on 4-hour time frame. You so wish you can see it. It's a very good looking rising wedge pattern where we're expecting price to technically break out downwards. And even if it's on 1 hour, it's still going. Any way you want to look at it, it's still bearish. The worst that will happen is that now let's assume the data comes out good. I always try to balance it. What if the data comes out good for the Canadian dollar? It will be a short-term movement. Price will just trade still within that resistance and will likely eventually still drop downwards. Why am I confident about saying this? Because the higher time frame, I always say it's the daily time frame, the weekly time frame, they are also a major reflection of the fundamental activity in the market. If it's a short time frame, like 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, to be honest, those ones are not reliable. They're not reliable. If it's a higher time frame, and the truth is that in trading, market always goes more in the direction of the bigger time frame at the end of the day. Yes, I know it's not going to be 100% of the time, but most of the time that is what happens. So we can work on all that. We don't work on absolutes in trading that it can never happen. There's nothing like that. Anything can happen. We can work on probabilities by the reason of the frequency of how things happen and the consistency that we have seen in certain patterns or certain things in the market that gives us the outlook where the market is expected to go. So I'm bearish on the card JPY tomorrow. So I'm going to put a lot of attention on this instrument. So the question now is this: okay, what if by the time the news comes out, it comes out so fast, you cannot, you go to Forex Factory to even check whether actually it's greater than forecast or actually less than forecast. Now, this one I want to show is actually better off some minutes to the news because tonight is still far away from the release of the data. But this I can guide you with is that tomorrow you can also use a sell stop pending order to trade some 5 minutes before the news is released. How do we do that? Now, what I'm going to show you tonight is an example. It may change between now and tomorrow, but whatever you see tomorrow, this is how you can guide yourself on how to trade it. Now, we're expecting a sell. That's the outlook we have for the data tomorrow from the for the Canadian dollar. So if we have a bearish outlook, we'll be looking at price dropping further, below. So if we're expecting price to drop further below, we have, let's assume tomorrow by 1:15, 1:20 p.m., price is still trading around a support region like this. We'll be targeting the T. You can see it's not exactly on this level, it's still a little bit above it. You look at a distance of a minimum of 10 pips, a minimum of 10 pips to the current price is what you can use as the entry price. Sometimes it can be as much as 15 pips, like what you can see now. Currently, it's about 15 pips, so it's still very good. So you look at the current support level to where price is and calculate about 10 to 15 pips, depending on what you're seeing in the market. And you'll be looking at price hitting that. Is that support area you put as your sell stop order in this case. You're placing a sell stop order at that support area. And you want to target the next major support level, if you can find one, as a take profit level. This next line here, Let me delete all these other big lines so that they don't confuse you. We don't need them now. This is the next major support, and the next one is this area again. So those levels can form your two take profit levels. To be honest, this can be at discretion. These are the easiest ones I feel I can. So the first take profit level is in the range of about 30 pips, which is still very okay. 20 to 30 pips is okay. And you don't want to look at 100 pips and more. This is like news trading. Like, I won't call this scalping. You have to be reasonable when it comes to trading news. You are not looking for exceptionally big profits. So we are looking at the 30 pip profit for the first profit taking, and about the 45 pips for the second one. So that's just how you trade news. If tomorrow, by the time the news is going to be released, I'll see the possibility of giving you a setup. I'll try to look out for that so that I can give you a clear understanding of what I'm saying. But generally, this is how we do it. And the other side is that price may also still try to form like a head and shoulder. If it forms a head and shoulder, that is even better because you already know that if it's a head and shoulder, the neckline region is the area you can use as the entry. That even makes it a lot more simplified. But it's not really all the time we get those kind of high probability setup like that. So we have to just use the current thing you are seeing on the chart, a nearby support level you can take as entry. Right, so let's wait till tomorrow. But this is just basically how we trade news using pending orders, some minutes rather, before the news is released, so that we don't miss out of the action. We don't miss too much out of the action. So I'm looking a lot at the CAD JPY tomorrow, and I'm also going to be looking at the GBP AUD tomorrow. GBP AUD is the second instrument I'll be looking at. Now, don't forget that there'll be a lot of speeches from the United Kingdom. So this GBP AUD, if the market reacts in this direction after the speech, yes, this technicals is now giving us a direction to look out for, because those speeches, you really don't know the direction. But technically, we already have a direction in mind, which we can now trade towards. So for the GBP AUD, on the daily time frame, you can see that price today is closing on a resistance level on the daily time frame. It's closing on a resistance level on the daily time frame. This is really very clear. We can see now this is today's candle hitting the resistance level on the daily time frame. And so tomorrow we're expecting possibly a reversal in price. At resistance level, we're looking at price reversing downwards. So if you go down to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that the market seems to be forming a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern, which is still a reversal pattern. So that still gives us that bearish outlook on 4-hour. And we'll take it down to 1-hour time frame. And this is what is 1 hour at the moment. I can draw a trend line this way. Price is touching that trend line at the moment. And I can draw a second trend line. So you can see that price is already testing that trend line. So if price breaks out below that trend line, maybe in the morning, well, if it breaks out in the morning before the news, you may enter yourself or make sure you have a stop loss in place, just in case. But the best is actually, it has not really moved too far. You want to wait for that news to be released, then so that you are not far from the entry price. But generally, we're bearish on the GBP AUD tomorrow. We're very bearish on the GBP AUD. Now, for the CAD JPY, what I showed you is the short-term trade for the news. The bigger picture for me for the Canadian dollar, for the Canadian dollar is actually the USD CAD. That's actually the one I'm looking out for more. So while CAD JPY is selling, if you want to do a swing trade, the swing trade will be very perfect on the USD CAD. Be a lot more perfect on the USD CAD. And why will I be looking at the USD CAD? Because the week started with a high probability setup on the USD card. USD card closed last week as a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. It closed as a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern last week on a support, the resistance turn support zone, and also on the trend line, all on the weekly time frame. That is a high probability for a bullish breakout in the course of this week. You know, if you watch the leader sent in the morning, which is my morning analysis, I actually emphasized a lot on the USA card as the main instrument I'm looking at for the week, as in for the swing setup for the entire week. That is what I'm really looking at. And I clearly mentioned it that on the 4 hour, that we're going to see the retracement back to this support zone. It has come back to it. So it's taking this review analysis over. So if the data tomorrow comes out good for the Canadian dollar, sorry, if it comes out bad, rather, where we're looking at selling the card JPY, we're looking at buying, and this is expected to actually move more. If you want to do swing trading, it's your thing, or you want to test it out, this will actually move for more duration compared to whatever we'll see on the card JPY. I already have the trend lines drawn earlier, for this. And if you're not going to trade it, you can just watch it and see how it evolves. You see, sometimes one of the best ways to learn at the beginner phase like this is just to observe and see if those things work out. If it works out just like the analysis, then it begins to build your confidence so that when you now want to trade it eventually, you're already acquainted and you're familiar with it and you know if it works. So generally, I'm bullish I'm bearish on the card JPY, bullish on the USD. All right, so that will be all for tonight. Any question? So there's no question. I'll drop the link to the video so that I can watch it again. And most importantly, hopefully before the week runs out, maybe by the next class, get ready. I'll call one of you to analyze the market for us. And with you, Mr.
Sir? Yeah, what was happening with gold and BTC today, sir?
Okay. Now, for gold has just been on the quiet side. It's not responding. And that is why everybody is very careful at this point. Because we feel that by now, gold should be pumping. But the guy is just quiet.
Very quiet, like just swinging today, like
very, very quiet. Very, very quiet. So when you see such things,
well, I traded with caution today.
What is it?
I traded with caution today.
Exactly, because
I traded with caution today, though.
Yeah, because technically, it is likely going to be bearish technically. But if the fundamentals take over, it will buy. So you may enter a buy and the strength for the fundamental has not been released and it sells, or you decide to sell. Maybe that's when all these countries will strike at one another again and they start buying. So for now, trade gold with extreme caution. If you can stay out, just stay out until we are sure what is really happening. That's the best advice I can give on gold. And for BTC.
And one thing about BTC.
Okay, BTC is doing some bullish movement. Yes. All right. Okay, the day is about to close because I was watching this one too carefully this morning. Yeah, price tried to breach this support. Now you can see that we have a full bullish candle for today, which is we can call it a kind of a bullish engulfing, candlestick pattern. So on a support level, and if you take it down to 1 hour time frame, I was checking this earlier this afternoon. This is giving me the vibe of an inverse head and shoulder. So BTC is in the bullish movement already. Yeah, they just wait till 10 o'clock so that we know the new day has started. But then the price already broke the area that we have taken as a neckline region. So I think this one is buying. BTC is buying and it will continue the buying direction tomorrow. That's if the candle tonight closes on the daily the way it is. But let's see, I don't really see anything happening again between now and 10 p.m. But if it closes by 10 p.m. like this, you see price push up more tomorrow. So I would say that BTC is in the bullish trend. This one is having a more clear cut direction for now compared to gold. Gold is not good for now. BTC is bullish.
Oh, okay. Well, something I'm watching is BTC and gold. I've been
Okay.
monitoring them like because I feel like they can be the surest and be the craziest
Yeah, they're volatile.
but
Volatile players make you a lot of
they are
money,
like
but trade
yes.
them with caution because they can also send you back to
I'm not I'm not going more than 0.01 now.
exactly. Once you
Before I was using
understand,
0.03.
uh, once you
Now I
understand
don't
how
go
to
more than
manage your risk,
0.01.
once you
I've
can
learned my
manage your
hard
risk and
way.
you're not greedy, then there's no
Uh,
pair one cannot trade in forex in reality. As long as you understand how to manage your risk and you're not extremely greedy with it, you can trade any instrument. Mr. Emmanuel, any question?
No, no, no question.
All right. So let's, also try to this the way I'm showing you. See, we're doing practicals. I expect that also in the course of the day, try to create time to also analyze and see what is happening for the day. Me, I'm just showing you what is happening at the end of the day. Sometimes some new setup may form in the course of the day. It's very possible. So you too can try to analyze and see. There's this beauty of trading when you analyze something by yourself and it comes out exactly like that. I'm telling you, that is where the freedom of trading, that's where it comes in. That, oh, that means I can do this by myself and it goes exactly in line with my analysis. And when you get to that point, you even trade with more confidence when you get to that kind of level. So just try to do some of these things also by yourself and try to see if things work out exactly as you have analyzed it. All right, that'll be all for tonight. You have a wonderful night.
okay.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Sir. Bye. Sir.